All right, a while ago I did a video on the inside of my Rubidium standard, and I had a question from a viewer that made me think. He was wondering, why do you need one? What do you use it for? And I'm sure a lot of people may be curious about the same thing. And there's two main reasons why you might want to use one. And so what is it? A Rubidium standard is a very, very accurate 10 megahertz. It's a stable, very, very accurate 10 to the minus 14th or something ridiculous accuracy of 10 megahertz. You can also do it by using GPS satellites and having it in a feedback loop where you have an oven-controlled oscillator and you adjust it using the GPS satellites, and that's very, very accurate too. In fact, it's actually a little more accurate even than the Rubidium. Kind of the best combination is to have Rubidium that is also disciplined by GPS. It's called disciplining. It's adjusted by GPS. So that's the very, very best, using both of them. For the garage, do people really need a Rubidium? Probably not. Do people want a Rubidium? Yes, I do. And they're cheap enough to have these days. You can get them used on eBay, $100, $200, somewhere in that range. If you can get one for $100, I think you're doing well. So anyway, I'm going to show two uses for why you might want a Rubidium, okay? All right, the first use case is going to be trying to adjust an oven that you have. So here's one out in the wild, but this oven may be in a counter, it may be in a function generator, or maybe in a RF generator. You might have a nice oven in your instrument, but this 10 megahertz that's inside of your device needs to be calibrated. Well, how do you calibrate that? Well, you compare it to something you know is correct, okay? So I've showed this on the channel several times before, but we're going to take this 10 megahertz and we're going to compare it to our Rubidium 10 megahertz and see if they're the same. And so I have the Rubidium coming in on channel 6. I have the oven going on channel 5, and I'm triggering on the Rubidium, and the oven is zipping by. It's not even close. Now, it's only been on maybe 5 minutes, so it's going to take a while for it to warm up. You can see it's getting closer and closer. So what you want to do is you want to adjust your oven so that it's about the same frequency. And this one is drifting off to the side, and so you want to adjust it with a little adjustment tool. There you go. It's coming in now that it's warming up. So you want to come in and you want to get these two beating with one another. So there we go. It's starting to come in and being about the same. Oh, now it's going off the other side. So now it's probably a little bit too slow, or maybe a little bit too fast. I forget which way is which, but you adjust them such that they match, okay? You can do it with a Lissajous figure as well. Some people like to do that. And there we go. The circle should calm down if the phase were in line. All right. So some people like to do it this way. Some people like to do it that way. It doesn't matter. It's about the same. Okay. So there's use case number one. We're going to compare our good 10 megahertz with our unknown 10 megahertz, and we're going to adjust it so that they're in phase and they're not drifting anywhere, and the circle either stops spinning or the trace stops moving. So that's the first way to use it. Okay, so I mentioned before you might have a counter. Here's a counter, and it's a very accurate counter. It's looking at another 10 megahertz oscillator over here on the bench, okay? And it's measuring the frequency of that oscillator, and then it's measuring exactly 10 megahertz. Now, it's doing so with an internal oven, okay? It's got something like this inside here, and that's its reference. It's using that internal reference as its master clock. It has to be calibrated somehow. It has to know exactly what frequency is. And so that 10 megahertz allows you to see that frequency, okay? And so we can can we go a little bit farther in digits here? Yeah, we can go a little bit farther in digits. So we're at 3, yeah, so we're at 6, 7, 8 digits after the decimal place, okay? So we're at 7 places after the decimal, right? And so we can compare that with another counter, all right? And this counter up here is also 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8. Did I count that wrong? 6, 7, 8. And this one is 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, yeah, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. So this is the 8th digit after the decimal place. We're getting about 0.6. And over here, we're getting about 4, okay? So they're close, but they're not exact, okay? Now, this one's been recently calibrated, so it is pretty accurate, but it will drift with time, right? Well, how about that one up there? When was the last time it was calibrated? Well, it wasn't. It wasn't calibrated at all. This one, instead of using the internal oven, which it does have, I took my rubidium and I put it on the input on the back. So this particular device allows you to either use the internal 10 megahertz or an external 10 megahertz. So this one is set up so it takes my rubidium. So this is very, very accurate. So this is a good number. This one down here, 0.4, this one's 0.6, 0.7. So this one's off a little bit, okay? So that's another way to do it. You can also look at your instruments. You may even have something like an RF generator. I have a 4 gigahertz RF generator. It's good to 12 digits of accuracy. You need a really, really good time base. Yes, it has an oven built into it and everything, but it also has on the back, it has a connector that says 10 megahertz input. So you could run the rubidium into the RF generator, and now your RF generator is really, really good, right? Very, very accurate. What if we wanted to make this one more accurate, okay? So on the back, make sure I don't kill anything here on the bench. On the back, there is a connector that says external standard input right here. And if we connect the rubidium to that connector, this instrument automatically says, oh, there's 10 megahertz coming in the back. I'm going to use that instead, okay? So let's do that, okay? So it's 6 right now. I'm going to put the rubidium in the back, and boom, it went to 3, okay? And went to 4. So it's bouncing between 3 and 4. What's this one up here? It's 4. So now these two, this time base and that time base are identical because they're using my rubidium, okay? So I've just made this one super, super accurate by inputting it onto the back, okay? So that's really the good use case in the lab, why you would want a distribution amplifier on your rubidium, split it a whole bunch of different ways so you could take it around to the different instruments. One of them I have split off, and I'm going to this. This is a function generator. I could put the rubidium into that if I wanted to. What other devices do I have? My VNA, I can put rubidium onto that. What else? Anyway, I have a bunch of things that do have external inputs. I don't always use them because I don't like to turn on the rubidium all the time, but I could run it all around and have everybody zooming around with rubidiums. But anyway, that's the second use case is instead of using your internal 10 megahertz, bring in an external megahertz, if you're using a GPS disciplined oscillator, or you're using a rubidium, or both together, it makes this box accurate without having to calibrate it all the time. It's always calibrated. It's always using the rubidium. It's always using the GPS. So there you go. Okay, I'll leave you with one more reason to use the rubidium, and that is the machine here, when you first turn it on, it's cold, and these ovens, if you have a big oven like this inside your frequency counter, it's going to take you maybe 20-30 minutes for it to warm up to a stable temperature. With this many digits, if you worry about this many digits, yeah, you're going to have to wait for it to come up to temperature. If you bring in the rubidium, it's good to go. It's on instantly. The other thing is, when do you stop waiting, right? When you first turn it on and it starts warming up, and the thing you're measuring is also drifting with temperature, you're not quite sure if this thing's drifting with temperature or that thing's drifting with temperature. You'd like to know if this has come up to temperature or not. So you might wait way too long before you start making your measurement. Whereas if you put in the rubidium, you don't have to wait. It's good to go.